All right, folks, welcome to another Buckmaster's Big Buck Blueprint. And I got my buddy Josh Crocker up in Oxford, Alabama with us. Welcome to today's podcast, my friend.
I appreciate it, Jackie. It's an honor to be on here. I've been watching you my whole life. I've got all the old Action Buck VHS tapes, and it's an honor to be talking to you, sir. It's pretty special to be able to share this with you, and I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. So I know you're going to say you've been watching me since you were in diapers, right, to make me really feel old?
I'm 35, so yeah, it's probably been about diaper time when you started making those in the late 80s, early 90s, I imagine.
That's right. This will be our 38th year on TV. We're the longest running hunting show in TV history. I tell people I met Noah when he brought the ark over and I helped divide the animals. So, but no, thanks so much for being on. And you're from up there in that Oxford, Alabama area?
Yeah, Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
Right around
There's
Northeast Alabama.
I got you. Well, there's some great deer come out of that part of the country up there for sure.
Yes, sir.
Now, Josh, you telling me now, y'all are married, you and Haley, and you got a little 3-year-old. That's what you were telling me?
Yes, sir. We've been married since, I guess, 2017, and Waylon just turned 3 a couple weeks ago. So we have our hands full with him.
Absolutely. Well, I'm on my third life. I got grandkids, so I got like 4 grandkids, so I'm starting over again. But
congratulations.
You just have fun with that little boy right there, and hope it wouldn't turn him into an outdoorsman like you and Haley are. So
that's what the dream is, at least.
Absolutely. Well, look, I know you do a lot of public hunting. Let's talk about that. And who started you hunting in the first place?
My dad. I guess probably I started getting in the woods around 5 or 6, and never quit from there. The area I've grown up in this area my whole life, and we have a lot of public land around us, national forest and several management areas, and it's been a blessing to be able to, I guess, learn and grow up around all this, and learn the hard way, I guess, on all these mountains and all the pressure we get. But there's some good hunting around here.
Well, I've always said this from day one. I said, a good public hunter is better than any private land hunter, because you are dealing with a lot more pressure, a lot more folks. So I take my hat off to you, because you shot some great deer in the background back there. And
yeah, these are all my public land deer just from around the area here.
Now, do you like to bow hunt, rifle hunt? What's your specialty?
Anything that's legal. I bow hunt from the day it comes in, and then I'll swap to a gun as soon as it comes in. Whatever excuse to have in the woods, I'm there.
I got you. What you do for a living?
I work at Southwire. It's a high voltage manufacturer. We make high voltage cable.
Okay. All right.
Kind of a blue collar factory worker, I guess you'd say.
Absolutely. Well, that's America, man. You part of the American dream right there. So
it works out good. I work swing shift where I'm off during the week, to where that's my best hunting is when everybody else is at work. I'm out in the woods, so where it's not as much pressure, but it definitely betters my odds a little bit, being out there on a Monday or a Wednesday or something like that when everybody else is at work.
Yeah. Well, look, if somebody's listening to this podcast and they hunt public land, what are some tips you might give them to, maybe they might learn to be a little more successful?
I'm big on, I study the topographical maps a lot, and I'm kind of a mountain goat at heart, I guess. So I do a lot of scouting. I do a lot of walking, especially in the off season. During turkey season is probably my best time to scout. I cover a lot of ground, and what's helped me out, I guess, is getting in there deep. A lot of people hunt the areas that I hunt, but they don't go more than a couple ridges deep. It's pretty rough terrain around here, I guess, to where it's you got to be in pretty good shape to get in deep, and that's what I figured out. Getting a couple miles deep in these woods where nobody else is going is where I usually find my best look. So it seems like the harder you work at it, the more luck you have over here.
Exactly. Well, let me ask you this: do you use a portable tree stand, and not leave one in there?
I tote a climber everywhere. That helps keep me in shape. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but these spots that I go hunt in, it takes me an hour, hour and a half of hiking to get to them, to where I try to sit all day once I get there. So I want to be comfortable. So I towed it. I have a Summit 180 Max. It's probably the heaviest climber I can find, but it's the most comfortable. And but I towed it however far I need to, and it's always worked out good for me. I like to climb high and take all the advantage I can, I guess, once I get back there. So
now you say you're hunting. You say you're hunting ridges. Are you seeing anything with the thermals that switch when you're up in the ridges and stuff, flipping on you?
That's all I deal with. I try not to focus too much on wind and all that, because you can't control it. And all these hills, it's going to do what it's going to do. You can't really plan for it. But from my experience is just trying to climb as high as you can to offer the best shots and keep your scent above everything. That seems to help me the most. I'm big on, I use ozone technology to try to eliminate my scent and all that, and that's seems to have been a major factor in my success on keeping my scent down that way.
I got you. Are you able to use trail cameras up on public land?
You can, but you use it at your own discretion, I guess. They might grow legs and walk away.
Yeah.
Try to keep locks on mine, but like I said, most of the places that I hunt are so far back there that I don't have to worry about too much people finding my stuff. But I try to hide everything as best as possible, at least.
I got you. I'm just trying to learn a bit. Are you mostly looking for the food sources, whether it's white oak acorns or whatever, on the different seasons of the year?
Yeah, early season, I focus on white oaks. I try to find just the travel routes. Once I get back in there, I don't know, once you walk all these mountains enough, I don't know how many countless miles, and just in this one area that I killed him in, it's about probably a 1,500 acre block of Talladega National Forest, and it's all landlocked between private lands, and there's only one access route to get into it. And so, as you can imagine, all the first half mile going in stays pretty beat up with hunters and pretty pressurized. So once I get back in there, it makes a big difference when you can tell the deer aren't as spooked and you're able to see a lot.
I got you. Are you able? Does your strategy change, say, early season to late season? Are you seeing your sign in different places in the ridges, or are you pretty much locked in the same place?
Yeah, this particular property is what I like about the area that I live in. We have probably 3 different ruts that happen within 30 minutes to an hour from where I'm at. Anywhere from this property that I hunt, they rut around Thanksgiving. So
really, wow.
And archery season usually comes in October 1st over here. So I usually hunt acorns and just feed and sign and all that through October. And then once I start getting in November, I start looking for rubs and scrape lines and just different travel routes that, like I said, once you start walking all these hills, you realize the better and worse ways to get around, and I try to work the land to my advantage on how I walk and climb these hills, and it seems to be that's the way the bucks do too. Everybody's going to walk the path of least resistance back there, so that's helped me out a lot. Just boots on the ground and scouting, and you can find these travel routes that these bucks are taking, and I've been doing that in the same area for years, so I've kind of got pinpoint locations that I don't have to bounce around a lot. I just go to my certain spots now, and the deer are going to come through there eventually.
I got you. So bottom line is, you want to get as deep into public land as you can, and you better be in good shape. You're carrying a portable tree stand so you can get in and get out, and you're basically sitting all day.
Yes, sir. That's in these areas where I shot him at. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Well, Josh, I hadn't seen anything, whether it's sports or whatever. You know, if you put the hard work in, you will be rewarded. You're not giving anything, so it looks like you put a lot of hard work in it, and that's why you're successful. So, Well, that's interesting. So, all right, look, we're going to take a quick break right here. We want to, all the fine folks at Realtree have got some merchandise on the website. Y'all use your Buckmasters VIP code in capital letters, and you'll get 25% off your next order with the fine folks at Realtree. So, all right, Josh, let's talk about the critter right there behind you. That is a very rare deer. I've done my research on it. Did you know that there's only 1% of the whitetail population is piebald? Okay, like one in 1,000 is piebald. 1 in 30,000 is an albino. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew it was pretty rare. That's what I guess it was 2021. I was bow hunting roughly about 2.5 miles in the national forest, and I saw him during bow season at a distance. I wasn't able to get a shot at him, but I knew he had a decent rack, and I saw the piebald. He was probably 150 yards off feeding on another acorn tree. And I saw him, and I put out cameras and never saw him again, but I knew there was something special back there. But I knew he was back there, so I just kept on hunting harder and harder, trying to see him. I never saw him anymore that year. Never got a picture of him. 2022 rolled around. I started hiking back there and putting more cameras out. It's a little bit harder to get pictures when you can't put corn, you can't do different things to draw them to you. You just got to find the good trails that they're using or the scrape lines they're running. And in 2022, I figured out the scrape line he was running. I had several pictures of him, so I knew what he was. He was a 9-point that year. Actually, he might have been a little bit bigger that year, but I still never saw him. I hunted hard, never saw him in person. And then this past year, it happened to be my late mother's birthday. Every year on her birthday, I try to spend all day in the woods, just try to reflect on life, and that's just one of my special days to hunt. And I'd been hunting, I guess it was about 11 o'clock in the morning. I hunted all morning, hadn't seen much, and I was thinking about climbing down and going to a different spot, and heard something coming up the ridge, and looked down and saw that white chest walking towards me. So I knew who was coming, and he came up to about, I guess, roughly 50 yards and stood broadside, and I put it on him and shot, and he ran maybe 50 yards and piled up, and that was it. It was one of those things you didn't expect to actually happen, and I'm very fortunate that he was able to walk up the ridge that I was sitting on that morning.
So you saw him a year before?
Yeah, 2 years before I saw him in person.
Really?
And then the year before I had pictures of him, and then the year of I couldn't get pictures of him. I thought he was dead. I didn't know where he was, and then he just popped up into my life that morning. So,
well, just think about that, being a piebald and where people could really see him in the woods. You know what I'm saying? And he made it. He made it 3 years with when you seen him. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I know. We aged them at roughly 4.5. I know they grow a lot different, so it's hard to tell by body size and all that. I mean, he's a dwarf deer. He doesn't fit the description of a normal 4.5+ year old buck, but.
And that's what comes with them. I was pulling it up. It was saying, they have some health problems. They're a dwarf. They have what's called a bowing nose. They have short legs. Some of them have scoliosis, and they have organ deformities. I didn't know that. So that's
a lot of them don't even make it to maturity.
No.
They just everything going against them. But yeah, he had a real bad overbite. I don't even know how. I guess he had to lick up the acorns. I don't know how he got so healthy, but he had a real bad overbite. His back foot was all jacked up. His hoof was all crooked and messed up. It looked like it was just deformed from the beginning that way.
Right.
And then just his little short legs. I mean, he lived in some mountain goat country. It's just real steep, real rocky bluffs, just real hard terrain. I guess he thrived in that atmosphere with his little short legs and the mountain goat body he's got.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that the male buck and the female doe have to have the same recessive gene to have a piebald. That was interesting reading. But they said also a piebald doe could have 2 regular fawns. And that was interesting to learn. But it also said the fawn, the doe, a lot of times will not protect a piebald. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Yeah, it was the instincts. And I was going, wow, I never thought about that. But it said deer will instinctively reject any babies that do not have a good chance of survival. So obviously, Mama either hung around or he survived on his own.
Yeah, so that probably just makes the percentages even less of the piebalds that actually grow to maturity then.
Yeah. Well, you know, some states you can't hunt piebalds. And, if somebody's listening to this podcast, you better check the state you're hunting in, because they won't let you shoot piebalds or albinos and things like that. But I tell you, man, you got a very rare deer right there in the state of Alabama. And you're going to be bringing that deer to the Buckmasters Expo, right?
Sure, I'll be there all weekend with him. Let everybody come and look and laugh at his little short self. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. But back to the genetics thing, there has been, I know one other guy years ago, he killed a piebald that looked a lot like him in that same area of woods. And then I've heard of other people said that they've seen piebalds. So I guess with the genetics part of it, I guess there's just that bloodline in that area of the national forest where maybe there's some more left in there.
Well, that is awesome. Well, the Buckmasters Expo, if you're watching and listening to this podcast, is August 16th through the 18th at the Montgomery Convention Center, and Josh and Haley are going to be there, and they're going to have that special piebald deer for everybody to look at. Well, Josh, look, it's been great talking to you. And Haley, you've done a wonderful job doing the production today. So I think we're going to hire you here at Buckmasters. Our guys, we just need to get rid of a few. So we'll bring you in as our production person, okay?
I'm on my way.
Pick up the slack, no doubt.
Well, look, a great story, a great strategy on giving somebody that might want to hunt public land. So, again, we look forward to seeing y'all here in a couple of weeks at Buckmasters. Again, congratulations on your success, Josh.
I appreciate you so much, Jackie. It was good talking to you.
All right, folks, that's another Buckmasters Big Buck Blueprint. Y'all check us out again. We'll have another great story like Josh. See ya.